There are places in America that don't show up on GPS, little pockets of silence off the interstate, where the static on the radio gets louder and the shadows stretch a little longer. I work at one of those places. It's called the Dusty Spur Motel, a decaying strip of 12 rooms sitting on the edge of the Nevada desert, about 50 miles from the nearest gas station. I've been the night auditor here for 6 months. It's a job for people who don't want to be found. I sit in the glass booth, listen to the hum of the vending machine, and watch the moths kill themselves against the neon "No Vacancy" sign. The owner is an old man named Mr. Henderson. He smells like stale tobacco and grief. He gave me the job on the spot, but he had only one rule, a rule so specific. I thought he was joking. "You can rent out any room you want, kid," he said. He slid a heavy brass keyring across the counter, but never, under any circumstances, do you put a guest in room 207. He leaned closer. His eyes were dark. "I don't care if the president walks in begging for a bed. Room 207 stays empty. It's under renovation." "Renovation?" I asked. "Just keep it locked," he snapped. For 6 months, I listened. It wasn't hard. The motel was rarely full. Room 207 was at the far end of the complex, separated from the others by a dark alcove. Sometimes, when I did my rounds at 3 a.m., I'd walk past it. The door was different from the others, older wood, the paint peeling in a pattern that looked like claw marks, and it was always cold near that door, a dry, unnatural chill that seeped through your shirt. But the real weirdness wasn't the cold, it was the sounds. Sometimes, when the wind died down, I could hear things coming from inside, not construction noises, no hammers, no drills. I heard jazz music, faint, scratchy, 1940s big band music. Other times, I heard the muffled sound of a woman weeping. I told myself it was just the pipes. Old plumbing sings strange songs, but deep down, I knew better. Then came last Tuesday. A storm rolled in off the desert, a violent, sudden deluge that turned the sky purple. Thunder shook the foundations of the office. The phone lines went dead. The internet cut out. I was alone, just me and the rain. Then, headlights cut through the darkness. A black sedan pulled up under the canopy. The engine sputtered and died. A man stepped out. He was soaked, wearing a suit that cost more than my car, and he looked terrified. He banged on the glass. "Please," he shouted over the thunder. "My car died. I need a room." I checked the register. We were fully booked. A convoy of truckers had taken up rooms 1 through 11 earlier that evening. "I'm sorry, sir," I said through the intercom. "We're full." "You don't understand," he pleaded. His eyes darted to the darkness of the highway behind him. "Someone is following me. I can't stay out here. I'll pay you triple. Just give me anything, a closet, anything." I looked at the register. Then I looked at the key rack. There was only one key hanging there. The brass tag gleamed under the fluorescent light. Room 207. Mr. Henderson was gone for the week. The man was shaking, holding a wad of cash against the glass. The storm was raging. "Fine," I sighed. I grabbed the key. "But just for tonight. And if you hear weird noises, it's just the plumbing." I unlocked the office door and handed him the key. I had no idea that I wasn't just giving him a room. I was feeding him to it. The man, Arthur Vance, snatched the key like it was a lifeline. He didn't care about the peeling paint or the smell of dust. He just wanted a lock between him and the highway. "Room 207, I said. "End of the hall, around the corner." He ran through the rain. I watched him struggle with the lock for a second. Then, the heavy wooden door creaked open. He stepped inside, and the door slammed shut. I sat back down, a knot of anxiety tightening in my stomach. The cash he gave me sat on the counter. It felt dirty. An hour passed. The storm intensified. The lights in the office flickered. Around 2 a.m., the switchboard on my desk lit up, a red light blinking. Room 207. I stared at it. The phones in these rooms were ancient rotary dials. They barely worked. I picked up the receiver. "Front desk," I said. Static. Heavy, rhythmic static, like waves crashing on a shore. "Mr. Vance," I asked, "is everything okay?" It's changing," a voice whispered. But it wasn't Arthur Vance's voice. It was a woman's voice, breathless, terrified. "Excuse me," I asked. "The walls," she whispered. "They're bleeding smoke, and he's here. He's standing in the corner. He says he knows you." "Who?" I demanded, my grip on the phone tightening. "Who is there?" "The man in the blue suit. He says, you shouldn't have opened the door." Click. The line went dead. I sat there, frozen. I knew there was no woman in that room. I saw Arthur go in alone. I grabbed my flashlight and the master key. I had to go check. Maybe he had a guest I didn't see, or maybe he was playing a sick joke. I stepped out into the rain. The air felt heavy, charged with electricity. As I walked down the walkway toward room 207, the atmosphere changed. The sound of the rain faded, replaced by a low, humming vibration. When I turned the corner to the alcove, I stopped. The door to room 207 wasn't peeling anymore. It looked new. The wood was polished mahogany. The number 207 was shining brass, not the rusted metal I saw every day. And the smell of desert rain was gone. Instead, the air smelled of cigar smoke and expensive perfume. I put my ear to the door. I didn't hear Arthur Vance. I heard a party, laughter, clinking glasses, a jazz saxophone playing a slow, mournful tune. I knocked. "Mr. Vance." The music stopped instantly. Dead silence. "Come in, Caleb," a voice said from inside. My blood turned to ice. They knew my name. I didn't want to open it. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to run back to the office, lock the door, and wait for sunrise. But I was the night auditor. It was my job. I inserted the master key. It turned smoothly, too smoothly. I pushed the door open. I expected to see a cheap motel room, 2 queen beds, a dusty TV, and beige carpet stained with coffee. That's not what I saw. I stepped into a room that shouldn't exist. It was massive. The beige carpet was replaced by deep, crimson velvet. A crystal chandelier hung from the ceiling, a ceiling that was far too high for this building. The furniture was Victorian, heavy oak, velvet armchairs, and it was empty. No party, no jazz band, just silence. "Mr. Vance," I called out. My voice echoed. I walked further in. Slam. The door shut behind me. I spun around and tried the handle. Locked. "Hello, Caleb." I turned back, sitting in one of the velvet armchairs, facing the fireplace. There was no fireplace in this motel, but there was a fire burning brightly. Sitting there was Arthur Vance. But he looked different. He wasn't wearing his suit anymore. He was wearing my clothes, my blue work polo, my name tag. He looked up at me. His eyes were wide, vacant, like 2 black holes. "I tried to leave," Arthur said. His voice sounded wet, like it was coming from underwater. "But the room remembers. It remembers everything." "What are you talking about?" I demanded. I shined my flashlight around the room. "How did you change your clothes? What is this place?" Arthur stood up. He walked to the window, but the window didn't show the rainy parking lot. It showed a sunny day, a backyard, my backyard, from when I was 10 years old. It shows you your worst regret. Caleb, Arthur whispered. For me, it was the night I left my daughter. For you. He turned to me, a sick smile spreading across his face. It's the fire, isn't it? I stumbled back. How did he know? The fire at my childhood home. The one I barely escaped. The one I never told anyone about. This isn't real, I muttered. I closed my eyes. Gas leak. Hallucination. Wake up. Look in the mirror, Arthur said. I looked at the large vanity mirror on the wall. My reflection wasn't there. Instead, I saw a tall, shadowed figure standing behind me, a figure made of smoke and burning embers. The figure reached out a hand from the mirror. No, I screamed. I grabbed a heavy glass ashtray and threw it at the mirror. Crash! The illusion shattered. For a second, the room flickered, like a glitch in a video game. I saw the rotting walls of the real room 207. I saw the moldy carpet. I saw Arthur Vance cowering in the corner, screaming at empty air, clawing at his own eyes. Then, the red room snapped back into place. The chandelier swung violently. The temperature dropped, freezing cold. It wants a trade, Arthur whispered. Tears streamed down his face. It won't let us both leave. It needs a new keeper. The walls began to close in. Literally, the crimson wallpaper started to ooze, a thick, black liquid. It smelled like tar. The shadows in the corners elongated, taking the shapes of people. I recognized them. A woman in a 1920s flapper dress, her neck bent at an unnatural angle. A man in a 70s disco shirt with a bullet hole in his chest. The victims of room 207, a collection of souls trapped in a single point in space. You have to choose, Caleb, Arthur yelled. He pulled a gun from his waistband. The reason he was running in the first place, he pointed it straight at my chest. It told me, he screamed, if I kill you, I go free. It wants fresh blood. Arthur, listen to me, I said. I raised my hand slowly. The room is messing with your head. It feeds on fear. Put the gun down. I can't, he sobbed. His hand was shaking. I hear them screaming. Make it stop. The shadows swirled around him, whispering, goading him. Do it. Kill him. Be free. I looked at the door. It was solid oak again. I looked at the window. It was still showing my childhood home, burning down. I realized the trick. The room didn't just haunt you. It pitted you against yourself. It was a pressure cooker designed to break the human mind. Arthur, I shouted. The door isn't locked. It's in your mind. He cocked the hammer. Click. I didn't wait. I tackled him. We hit the floor. The gun skittered across the crimson carpet. The room reacted angrily. The chandelier fell. Crash. Inches from my head, the floorboards opened up like a mouth, revealing a dark abyss beneath us. I punched Arthur in the jaw, stunning him. I scrambled for the gun, not to shoot him, but to shoot the lock. I aimed at the door handle and pulled the trigger. Bang! The wood splintered. The illusion flickered again. The crimson velvet turned back to moldy beige. The chandelier became a bare light bulb, swinging on a wire. Run! I grabbed Arthur by the collar. I dragged him toward the door. He was heavy, dead weight, muttering about his daughter. I kicked the door open. The desert wind hit me, the rain, the glorious, real us, cold rain. I dragged him out onto the concrete walkway. As soon as we crossed the threshold, the door slammed shut behind us. Slam! With a force that shook the ground. From inside, I heard a scream of frustration, not a human scream, A sound like grinding metal and tearing meat. Then, silence. Arthur lay on the wet concrete, gasping for air. The gun lay beside us. I looked at the door of room 207. The brass number was gone. It was just a peeling, rotting piece of wood again. Mr. Henderson came back 2 days later. He didn't yell. He didn't fire me. He just walked into the office, looked at the logbook where I'd crossed out Arthur Vance's name, and sighed. "I told you," he said softly. "It's under renovation." "What is in there?" I asked. My hands were still shaking. I hadn't slept in 48 hours. Mr. Henderson lit a cigarette. The smoke curled around his face. "Nothing is in there, kid. That's the problem. It's a hole. In the world. Sometimes things fall in. Sometimes things crawl out." Arthur Vance survived. He drove away that night without a refund, leaving his gun behind. I checked the news a few days later. A man matching his description turned himself in for a robbery in Arizona. He told the police he did it because the shadows told him to. He was declared insane. I should have quit. I should have packed my bag and drove until I hit the ocean. But I didn't. I'm still here. I'm still the night auditor at the Dusty Spur. Why? Because last night, while I was cleaning the office, I found something. Under the desk, wedged between the floorboards. It was a photo, an old black and white Polaroid. It showed the front desk of this motel, dated 1962. Standing behind the counter was a young man. He was wearing my uniform. He had my face. He was smiling. And on the back of the photo, written in fading ink, were the words, "Welcome home, Caleb." I realized then that Arthur was right. The room didn't let us both go. Part of me, maybe my soul, maybe my sanity, is still in there, sitting in that velvet armchair, waiting for the next guest. So, if you're ever driving through Nevada late at night, and you see a neon sign flickering in the dark, keep driving. And if you have to stop, whatever you do, don't ask for room 207.